Yo, what is up? It is 2KJ, and today we got another week of football talk. Got a couple good topics. It is episode 6, I believe, 5 or 6. But we're starting off strong, you know. Shout out to all the viewers. Shout out to all the viewers. That's about it. Another week of football. Free agency was alright. I mean, this whole year's been super hectic when it comes down to that. So we've had everything you could expect. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was still a hectic week for free agency. Just for what we've seen already this year, it's not been too crazy. But we'll start off with the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Doug Peterson, came out and said it is still a possibility that they will take offensive lineman #1 overall. His quote was that you can't have enough offensive linemen. I think they have acquired their weapons offensively through free agency. I think their defense is subpar, and they will continue to work on that in the draft. But I think their first overall pick is still going to their offensive line. I think the guard in Alabama is just too good to pass up. And if you don't take him, you're giving up that first overall pick. Later on, we'll learn that the Lions are not too weary on their picks. So, I mean, it may not be a draft class that's as worth to remember as the free agency class. That'd be a very rare year where free agency beats the draft. But yeah, just to start off, the Jags, they're still taking a chance, possibly taking a lineman. Doug Peterson obviously is saying that he's got a niche for offensive linemen, I guess. But I still think personally that the Jaguars are going to take an offensive lineman #1 overall. Next, we got the Saints transitioning Taysom Hill to tight end. This is after they just paid him a massive contract to play quarterback. So now they're paying him a massive contract to play tight end. This goes in favor because right now they don't have a tight end after Jerry Cook left. They kind of had a void in that hole. So now they can use Taysom Hill, who is experienced in everything. I'll assume he's just going to be a blocker. Maybe he catches some passes, but right now, if Taysom Hill's given up the starting spot, then Jameis Winston's going to take it, and Taysom Hill's going to have to catch some passes from Jameis. Personally, I think as a player that's a smart move because you're not going to waste all of your good years sitting on the bench. You already got paid, so it doesn't matter what he does now. But if he wants to get on the field and he understands that Jameis Winston's a better quarterback, then hey, I mean, it's never too late to have a position change. Maybe he goes crazy, you know. These could be one of the stories in 10 years that's like, if he didn't change, we would have never seen a Hall of Fame career become unravel before our eyes. Next, we got Kyle Shanahan. He is ready for Trey Lance to be the starter. This is a interesting topic because last week the Niners came out and said they would not be releasing Jimmy G. So that would mean that you're going to have Jimmy Garoppolo on the bench behind Trey Lance, which, you know, it's not a bad idea. You know, give Jimmy G the first year and Trey Lance the second. But if Trey Lance doesn't play up to expectations, you're going to have Jimmy G in a Matt Ryan situation. He's going to play the rest of the year, recover the year from what Trey Lance did, possibly get him in the playoffs. If they get in the playoffs, make a run. But then the offseason comes, he's going to want to leave. I don't even think he'll want to play for the Niners. He's already asked for a trade. So it's a very weary area in Jimmy G's career because he now has to show that not only the stuff that I learned from Tom Brady before I was a starter, now the stuff that I have used as a starter, and now he's got to take all of that stuff, the backup knowledge and the starter knowledge, and prove to a new team that he can start and win with them. I think he's proved enough with San Francisco. I think having Tom Brady as a mentor helps, but there may not be a team that actually wants him. That's the problem. There's a lot of teams that do need a quarterback, but they're going to find one in the draft. Or the other option is they can't afford the prices Jimmy G takes. So he'll find a new team here soon. I don't know where yet, but he's chilling like a villain right now. It all really just, I guess, in my opinion, depends how Trey Lance plays, because if Trey Lance plays great, then he's on to a new team quick. If he plays terrible or plays even mediocre, they'll keep him, and he'll have to take the Niners out of a grave, I guess. But then again, does Jimmy G even allow that to happen? Does he be the backbone of the team after they benched him? I wouldn't. Next we have the overtime rule was approved by owners. This new overtime rule. It was approved by owners 29-3. Now this rule is only in the postseason, and basically it just assures that both teams get the ball, so that in the overtime era, or in the playoffs, nobody goes home empty-handed. At least you get a shot. They're pushing overtime to look more and more like college. I'm totally fine with that, but I don't agree with the kickoff part and the 75-yard drive. I think start at the opposing team's 40. Just start off right there. That gives you 60 yards of field to work with. You have 2 sets of first downs. The first set and the next set, and then after that you get a score. I mean, you could do conventional 10 yards. I would like to see an overtime like college, except the college rules, I believe they start at the 25, like red zone. I would like to see that, but with an extended, so like I said, the 40 on either side, really, just because I think if you're really trying to give both teams a fair chance, just start them out on a 40 and let their offense, because what's really happening is the NFL is trying to push this offense pro league, and so if you're trying to push an offensive pro league, you might as well cut special teams out, because defense isn't going anywhere. And so if you're trying to push offense pro, you might as well cut an extra kickoff in an overtime game, because it's going to be a touchback. Set them both on the same numbers and see whose offense legit just does better. I mean, there's plenty of different ways you could go about it, but I mean, if we're gonna let both teams have a fair chance, then I think they should both be given a fair chance from the same yard line. And I just feel like 75 yards is a really long overtime. You're giving them 12 minutes and 75 yards twice, because you gotta give the ball to the other team. It's just not gonna work out. We already see a lot of overtime games after the first or second drive. Teams start to stall out and the time starts to wear thin. So to prevent ties, and that's another thing. Let's get rid of ties too. No, we don't need ties. There's no need for a tie in football. Go to overtime, sudden death, if you need to, but there's no need for a tie. We'll watch 72 halfback dives in a row before I want to see another tie again. I'll watch 50,000 QB kneels in a row before I watch another tie. The point is, at some point, somebody's going to put points on the board, whether or not they do it on purpose or not. So I just prefer to not see as many ties, as well as not see as many overtime games where the team that gets the ball immediately scores. Both scenarios are the same in my book. Just a waste of a game. Just ruined a great game. That's my opinion. A perfect game with a terrible ending. How those games usually end up in my book. On to the next topic. We got Andy Dalton signing to the Saints as a second stringer. This is not surprising. Andy Dalton is kind of he had his time in Cincy, but he shit the bed, and he went to Dallas and became Dak's mentor, and then he came to Chicago, and he became Mitch Trubisky's mentor, and then I believe he stayed with Chicago when they drafted Justin Fields, became his mentor. So it's like now he's going to New Orleans to be Jameis Winston's mentor. What do you have to say for yourself, my boy? You're not playing yourself to be a starter anywhere. You're playing yourself to be the guy that comes in after a 0-8 season start, and you gotta come redeem it. And I just don't know why Andy Dalton plays himself like that. There's plenty of positions in this league. There's plenty of spots in this league that you can go to and start. You don't have to be a backup. But if the money's not right, the money's not right. That's all. That's all. You don't have to explain any others. The Packers still don't have a starting receiver. It's now been, I think, 2 weeks, and we have no replacement for Davante Adams. My assumption is we're waiting for the draft. I think we're going to trade up and get us a badass receiver. Maybe we don't. Maybe the badass receiver waits for us. Either way, I think we're going to strike gold and find Aaron Rodgers, Randy Moss. That's what I want. If we can find Aaron Rodgers, Randy Moss, we're going to the Super Bowl again. Every year it's the same thing, but it's because we're always one piece away. Last year, special teams. Year before, I think it was we shit the bed in Tampa Bay or in Green Bay. But this year, we can really make a push if we get that deep threat receiver. I mean, because we have Lazard. He's a big body. He can run those crosser routes and get open and make sure he's like a basketball player. He can box a guy out and catch the ball in the paint. But and a lot of our offense is just honestly halfbacks running out of the pocket, going to block somebody and then crawling out the pocket, opening up those linebackers, and then there's somebody like Allen Lazard or Randall Cobb sitting in the slot ready to catch an open pass. If not, we'll get our deep threat to run those little pretty post routes or those streaks, and boom, problem solved. I'm more focused on what we're going to do with the missing pieces on defense. I don't know why, but I've always had a problem with our defense. Even when our defense is top tier, I still have a problem with our defense. And it's just because I'm a defensive guy, maybe. But I digress. John Harbaugh resigns to the Baltimore Ravens. Now, fun fact about the Baltimore Ravens, they have not created a deal with Lamar Jackson. This would be raising eyes to concern because this is your franchise quarterback. You haven't re-signed him from his rookie deal. This isn't as big of a deal as people should take it because, one, we're not even past the draft. Two, there's still an extension talk, let alone him being out of a contract. So you still got a whole season of football to play. And three, you have guys on your team that are just like him that if needed, you can, and if he's way too much money, you can cut him and bring in the new guy. But I do not recommend that. I think Lamar is the one not to be messed with, and he's gonna be good for a couple more years, at least a couple more. But yeah, I think they're just taking care of their Hall of Fame coach. John Harbaugh has won them a Super Bowl, so Lamar hasn't. So they're taken care of, obviously, their coach first, and then they'll get their quarterback settled. But can't do anything about it. John Harbaugh's the one who drafted Lamar Jackson. Give him some props. He needs his money. The Indianapolis Colts called Carson Wentz a mistake, but in reality, are the Colts the mistake here? I think it's very dumb for a team that has gone through quarterbacks like a 15-year-old boy goes through girls. They have had a quarterback since Peyton Manning left. Every year. Now, this is going to sound weird, but every year since Peyton Manning left, they've had a new starter. That does not mean Andrew Luck was not on the team. Yes, I know he was on the team. Andrew Luck did not start every game every year he played. So, back to the analogy, the Colts have had a new starter every year, at least for one game. Could have been Matt Hasselbeck, could have been Andrew Luck, could have been Philip Rivers, could have been Carson Wentz. It could have been anybody, because they're all bums except for Andrew Luck. Don't get my man twisted. And young Philip Rivers, he's decent. But yeah, I think the Colts did not need to say that. We all knew that they were signing him out of sympathy because they needed somebody, but we also let them in the league out of sympathy. Like, honestly, we literally let the Indianapolis Colts in the league out of sympathy. That's not even a joke. They could have stayed their happy ass in Baltimore. And the Baltimore Colts. We wouldn't have Ravens. We'd have the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Colts. But had to move. Anyways, my point in saying that is just, yeah, like, why even bring that up? Why even say that he was a mistake to bring into the league? Like, he's about to go to the Commanders and pull fucking 6 wins out of his ass himself. Let alone if they build a nice roster around him and keep his legs clean, he might go fucking win 10 wins. While the Colts are still, I guarantee you, if they fucking draft that fucking kid from Pitt, he's gonna retire early too. Because you guys can't get it done. The Colts won't get it done. And to say that my man Wentz was a mistake, Darius Leonard being a Colt was a mistake. I was gonna say Marlon Mack, but he's not even on the team anymore. Jonathan Taylor was a mistake. Okay. I don't know. I'm just joking, but the Colts couldn't have. The Colts owner could have kept his mouth shut about that. That was pretty offensive to Carson Wentz. Because, I mean, do we not remember what he did in Philadelphia before he tore his ACL? He did pretty magical things. Next story, the Lions are possible to trade their 2nd overall pick. My question is, who would take it? Because I know I wouldn't. I hope my team wouldn't. I think they should keep it in hopes of getting, and you know what, maybe their thought process is nobody's going to be drafting a quarterback in the top 10, so we trade to like 12, 13, and we get our guy at 13, the guy that we wanted at 2, and get a couple picks out of it. That's cool, but you got to make sure your guy's going to be there, because what if somebody else trades up to get that guy, you know, like, you know, it's a fucking card game, and you have the best cards in the hand right now, just about. this is interesting because that means, I mean, the Jaguars obviously are sticking with Trevor Lawrence, so there's no need to worry about them taking your guy if you're picking a quarterback. This makes me think that they really are picking a quarterback because there's no need to draft a quarterback at 2, especially when they're all thought of to be going lower, so the only problem is you're Detroit, so you only get so many more chances to fuck it up, and you need your Lord and Savior under center. You had Matthew Stafford, but the Lions were the first team to not get it done, and they had a good quarterback. You don't need a quarterback anymore. You need a quarterback and a running back and 3 receivers, a whole line. You have to be stacked to even compete. The Lions, I think, in my opinion, should stack, go get their quarterback later, because there's better quarterbacks out there. Got a case of Eons. Next on our topics, Malcolm Jenkins, the Eagle and the Saint, retires after 13 years. He is, fun fact, the only player that has beaten Tom Brady and Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl. He beat Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl in 2007, it was 2009. 2009 with the Saints against the Colts, and then he also beat Tom Brady and the Patriots with the Eagles in 2018. Very interesting, very cool stat to have under your name. Malcolm Jenkins, he's pretty good safety, I would say. I wouldn't give him the Hall of Fame nod. I wouldn't give him the Hall of Fame nod just because he is, he never was the main role on those defenses that he was on. He had a lot of guys on his defense that helped him, and he was more of a role player, but 2 Super Bowl rings can't hurt your Chase. I just don't think he's going to make the Hall of Fame. Next, we have a little segment, because there have been so many receivers just switching teams all the time. I had a couple guys that they're going from one quarterback to another, and I just wanted to rate their performance with the good, bad, or plus, minus, or equal on how their transition will go and how this year's season will compare to last year's season. So to start off, we got Mr. Adams, Mr. Davante Adams, and this one I gave a minus just because Derek Carr. I don't trust Derek Carr with my life. I don't. I think Adams and Derek Carr have great chemistry, and I think they're going to work great together, but I just don't feel confident in Derek Carr's ability to pass the ball. I think Davante Adams has not gotten used to making easy catches, not at all. I think he can make amazing, difficult catches. I just think when he was making difficult catches, it was because the DB was right on top of him, and Aaron Rodgers placed the ball perfectly, and he had to go make a difficult catch to complete the play. When a DB is going to be all up on top of him, pause, and Derek Carr throws an air ball, not only will Davante Adams have to now make a spectacular catch, but he'll have to go out of his way to catch an air ball. I don't see him doing that. It's impossible. You can't adjust, or you can't fix a bad throw that your quarterback gives you while also having pressure that you have to avoid. It would just be asking too much of him, and simply because of Derek Carr's abilities being lackluster, I see Devontae Adams having a little bit worse of a year. Not a significantly worse year. I think he still makes a Pro Bowl, but I just don't see him having that best receiver of the league year that he usually has. Just simply off of, like I said, Derek fucking Carr. Next, we got DJ Chark. He's going from Jacksonville to Detroit. I like this guy. He's young. He's fast. He's going to help Jared Goff or whoever the quarterback is, and I think he takes that offense to the next level. And so yeah, I think he's gonna have a better year than he did in Jacksonville. Jacksonville, you know, he had Trevor Lawrence, true, but he's gonna have a better team around him, just a little bit better. I don't think Jacksonville and Detroit are too much far off, but I think both of them. I don't think they're both too far off skill wise, but I think his abilities will be able to contribute correctly to the right team, therefore making the lines a little bit better and himself a little bit better, you know? So yeah, I give him a plus. Next, we got Amari Cooper going from Dallas to Cleveland. This one I gave an equals just because there's too many variables going up in the wind right now. Deshaun Watson is still, he was dismissed of all the charges, but now the NFL's got to look into everything and make sure that they were okay with what happened. So, he could end up having to work out with Baker, for half a season or something. But it really just depends on his quarterback. But Watson or Baker, I still think he makes a lot of plays. I think he still shows his ability and performs great. But for now, I give him an equals just for now. Next, we got R. Gage. He is the receiver from Atlanta going into Tampa Bay. He's just a solid receiver too. And you know how Brady likes those receiver twos. Those receiver twos and those slots. He is just a fan of how the mismatches and how the double teams on receiver ones, or how the focus is on a receiver one, you can take advantage of the ignoring of the receiver two. So if he's going to be playing receiver two for Brady, he's going to get a lot of targets, he's going to get a lot of attention, especially with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. They're already going to be there getting their receiver one pay, so they're going to be getting a lot of targets as well. So while they're being double covered, while they're getting plotted in his zone, he'll be open for Tom Brady to dot up, and he might be able to do something. Matt Ryan and Tom Brady is a big difference, and I think you'll come to find that out. Next, we have Tyreek Hill, and I gave Mr. Gage a plus because of Tom Brady, the Brady effect. Tyreek Hill got a plus. I think a lot of people assume that because Tyreek Hill can outrun Tua's arm, it's going to be a problem. But I think he's going to be able to not only work himself or make himself better, but make Tua better. He's going to be able to work on his horizontal game. He's going to be able to work on his horizontal game. Also, he'll be able to give Tua options to make explosive plays and to help boost his accuracy and arm strength as well. This is a plus because now he won't just be running straight down the field, and now defenses have to worry about how to handle him in his zone, because now working horizontal, you got to pass him off to people in your zones. So if you're doing that, you have to communicate. So the communication will have to get higher on defenses. The zones will have to be sharpened on defenses, because man on man is not going to work, especially if he's running a slant, especially if he's running an in route. You got to have the perfect ankle. And if you don't have the perfect angle, he's going to burn the shit out of you. Next, we got Christian Kirk. He will, he's going to get a plus. He's going to be a great target for Trevor Lawrence, but I still believe he's overpaid. I think Trevor Lawrence needs a true receiver one. Is Christian Kirk a receiver one? I guess we'll figure that out, but the pay says so. Man, he just got paid so much money to do nothing. Trevor Lawrence must really like this guy, and they must have a lot of chemistry together. I'm yawning so much. I give him a plus just because he's getting new scenery where he's going to be the only guy there to catch passes basically, and it's also going to be Trevor Lawrence's most utilized weapon in my opinion. Next we got Allen Robinson, and he is going from the Chicago Bears to the Rams, and this is going to be nice because depending on if they get Odell back or not, this is a great replacement for Robbie Woods, who was shipped off to the Titans. This just gives them a new set of legs that Matthew Stafford can throw to. You know, they got the deep vertical passes going, so he's a fast guy. He can catch. This is something that definitely Sean McVay is already working on in the lab. And I give him an equals or a plus just simply off of his reps. If Odell's there, he's not going to get as many reps, but without Odell being there, he would be it would be him and Cooper Kupp, and that's a strong duo. Juju Smith-Schuster going from the Steelers to the Chiefs is a plus because I believe he's still young enough where he can develop better as a receiver, but it makes him also that wide receiver one that he tried with after AB left, but it failed miserably in Pittsburgh. With Tyreek Hill leaving, that gives him a free spot. He's got to fight for it. You got McCole Hardman there. You got who else is there right now? That might be it right now. Hardman. But they got Pringle left. I think Pringle left, yeah. But my point is, yeah, you're gonna have to work for that. You have to work for that spot, but I think it's still achievable. This would be a great time for him to get 1,000 yards receiving. And that would be the first time he's had that since 2018 when he was right behind Antonio Brown. So, like I said, yeah, he has had a good time being the first one out, but maybe this time he'll have some better luck. Next, bless me, I'm having a rough time today. Drop a like in the chat if you're counting how many odds I got. Cedric Wilson from Dallas to Miami. He was a fourth stringer already in Dallas, and now he's going to Miami to be a third string, fourth string, with Tyreek Hill, Devontae Parker, all those guys, Jalen Waddle. Well, Devontae Parker not anymore, but Jalen Waddle. So, it's a good pickup, but as a player, he should have stayed in Dallas, I believe, because in Dallas you have CeeDee Lamb, and that's it. So now your receiver core is opening up. You had a better opportunity to get more time on the field, and signing this new deal is going to bring high expectations, and you're not on the field, so why would they care what you're doing? This is one of those things where you got to decide if saving the money is if saving the money and upping your career is better than stagnating your career and upping the money, in a way, in my opinion. Going back to Robbie Woods, they paired him with AJ Brown in the Titans. So the Rams obviously traded him, but this is a good pair. Simply just like I said, you got Robbie Woods, who's speedy, who can run the deep routes, and you got AJ Brown, who's big, who's still speedy, and but who can run those smaller routes and can catch those contested passes. Um, I'm assuming he's got about the same production as last year. Maybe he has more, but I feel like his role is not going to change much in Tennessee as it was in LA. But I could be wrong. He could be run blocking. Next, we got Lamar tweeting out, "I love my Ravens." Apparently, there's a false narrative that he wants to leave the team. Maybe this is about his contract and such. But he shut all that down with a quick tweet to prove his loyalty to Baltimore. I'm assuming this happened right after the signing of his coach, but it's all good. Lamar seems pretty strong on Baltimore, so I don't think anything's going to happen there. I think he's more focused on winning a Super Bowl than he is worrying about where he goes and plays football. Jameson Williams, the receiver from Alabama, said he is ahead of schedule in ACL rehab. Hopes to be ready for training camp. So he is the receiver from Alabama who played in the national championship game and got hurt, tore his ACL. This was a big disappointment because that meant that everything that he'd worked for all the season, all the awards that he was up for, all those are gone, and he can either start over and try again next year at Alabama, or he can risk it. Or he can risk it and go to the draft. The only problem is, a lot of times what happens is these guys are expected to go to the draft in certain years, so the coaches already bring in guys. So, like for the last 2 years, he's seen his backups get bigger and better every year. And the year that he's supposed to leave, these guys are damn near starters. Like, I would assume backups at Alabama could play starting at other colleges and get good tick. So as a Alabama player, you would have to think like, if I risk giving up another year and playing in college, I'm risking having to compete against guys that I've been training with and I know are just as good, if not better. I mean, look at the guys they're bringing out. They just had Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Calvin. Like, I'm talking about in the last 8 years, they've had Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Henry Ruggs, now Jameson Williams. Like, the list goes on, and you could, I mean, Kenyon Drake was a guy from Alabama. I mean, a lot of speedsters are coming to Alabama now. So like I said, yeah, Jameson Williams would have to choose. Am I going to risk not doing combine workouts, not doing pro days, and just hoping that my raw game film can help me get in? Or do I wait, do my rehab, and then do the draft next year? But that's okay. I mean, he's still going to be put on a team. He's still going to go through the rehab. This happens every year with somebody. But it just sucks with this guy because he was a very special talent, and he was. They were predicting, records to be broken with his name. So hopefully he gets back on that track. Hopefully this ACL ain't nothing. Yeah, because that's a big deal. Anyway, next we have Patrick Peterson. He signed a 1-year deal with the Vikings. This is nothing too special. He played for the Vikings, I think 2 years now. So now I think he's just trying to retire. He's a little bit older, coming from Arizona. He used to be a very strong returner as well, but now I think he's just a veteran corner who teaches the young guys some things. Next, a big story. We got Bruce Arians stepping down as head coach. Todd Bowles will be the new head coach. Todd Bowles was hired last year as the defensive coordinator. for the Buccaneers, but now he is the head coach for them. I don't think this changes much. I think they are comfortable with Brady and the offense being controlled by. I think Arians will still control a little bit, but I think the offense is in reins already, so they're trying to get a head coach with a defensive mindset, so that they can really emphasize this ring that they're trying to chase. Next on our topics, we got Noah Fant goes and explains his frustration in Denver. Now that he is in Seattle, he was talking about wanting to stretch the field, and how whenever he was in Denver, he was really just a run after catch guy, and he did not like that play style. So he went and he got to a new team, and then when he got that new team, he started talking that smack, and here we are. I think Noah Fant needs to prove himself a little bit more before he makes those kind of remarks. But hey, who am I to say? I think he's getting playtime either way. I don't know why it matters if you're a run after catch or if you're vertical. I mean, I get being the little coach in your mind is telling you what to do, but at the end of the day, like, your job is to play football. So if it's run after catch, break them fucking tackles and run after the catch. Another big moment on our docket, we have the Rams signing Bobby Wagner. This is big because the Rams play the Seahawks twice a year. And like I said last week, or maybe the week before, Bobby Wagner wants to be Brett Favre. And he's definitely going in like Brett Favre, trying to steal some of that shine from the Seahawks after getting all them picks. Andy Dalton now. Andy Dalton here says on a quote, he's just here to help Jameis. He's just here to help Jameis. How many guys will Andy help? Oh, yeah. His quote was, I'm just here to help Jameis. That's where I came up with that. How many guys will he help? He's just here to help Jameis. So he obviously does not care. He does not, he just wants to check, obviously. So I wonder how whoever he plays for reacted to that, because it's pretty funny. And then also, Giovanni Bernard re-signed with the Bucks. So that's pretty decent though, because Tom Brady will be able to get back with his old buddy, who he won a Super Bowl with, and be able to, I guess, help him get another one. I think these are all just retirement contracts, honestly. All these old people signing with them, I think, are just people who are like, look, man, I did my dues, I paid them. Let me win a Super Bowl before I retire, so my stats look good enough to go to the Hall of Fame. Because Giovanni Bernard don't need to be on that fucking cover. Or Giovanni Bernard don't need to be on that fucking team. He has no need to be on that team, dog. Like, just dumb. Like, why even? I don't know. Like, you could find so many other guys like that who are younger and cheaper in the draft or even in free agency. Like, Giovanni Bernard ain't nothing special. I know he can catch out of the pocket. I know he's like the wheel route and the cross route guy, but like, dang, you gotta like cut him some slack. He's old as fuck. Make sure I always stretch. Keep your blood flowing. Another big topic, Colin Kaepernick was throwing at the Michigan spring game. Jim Harbaugh helped him out with that one. I think this was to help, boost him, obviously, to get signed. But I think it's also because there are a lot of teams out there that do want to sign him, and they don't have the money that he's demanding, because he is demanding a lot. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool seeing him out throwing again at Michigan's spring game. I think it's cool that somebody is giving him a voice again. But I wish he'd use that voice literally, like, talk to us now. But it's okay. I want to see him on a team. I just don't know what team he would fit. So I guess, yeah, let me know in the comments, what team is Kaepernick gonna sign to? Next, I got Xavier Howard had a 5-year, $50 million extension to Miami. That is pretty big because Miami is doing all the rebuilding, and to get an extension, you know, that secures your spot on the team for another 5 years unless you get cut, and that could be, you know, depending on how these 5 years go, it could be a Super Bowl. You never know. Yeah, we got 2 more topics. I got, you know, Marlon Mack, the guy we were talking about from Indy. He actually signed to Houston. This helps Jonathan Taylor a little bit more just because he gets more carries. He's going to be able to get more of the offense to himself, and they're going to be able to really just trust him with the offense instead of just hoping that he can get the job done. This also helps Marlon Mack because he was having to share snaps with Jonathan Taylor. In Houston, they don't have a running back, so he'll be able to take those carries that they are giving him and make the best out of him. Marlon Mack was really good actually when he was a rookie. I believe he was up for Offensive Rookie of the Year. But my point of it is saying, man, you gotta just put a little bit more work in, you'll be good, man. Because we saw the vision. We saw the vision. It was there. But yeah, it's okay. He'll get more snaps. He'll be able to prove himself, and then once Marlon Mack proves himself, you know, he'll be in the Pro Bowl. That's just damn, I think I fucked that up. I'm so tired. So, oh no, I didn't. No, I'm cheating. So if Marlon Mack goes from Indy to Houston in the signing, that gives him the more potential of having, like I said, more carries, all that shit. I think he has I think he has a worse offensive line in Houston, but that's something that he doesn't use as much, as he is a outside back. He takes the pitches, he takes the screens, all that stuff. So he just needs 2 good tackles, and he's good, man. He's good. Who needs linemen when you have linebackers? And then lastly, we got Miami traded Devontae Parker in a 5th round to New England for a 3rd round. This is kind of crazy because I don't know why Miami is so thirsty to throw away everything, but they're really giving up a 5th and Devontae Parker simply for a 3rd round pick, and I believe it's just because they don't want to get rid of his ass whenever they redraft. But yeah, man, I don't know if he's worth all that. A 3rd round pick for a 5th and Devontae Parker. You know, I just feel like Devontae Parker's a little bit worth a little bit more than just that. Man, he's not even worth a 3rd rounder. You had to throw in the 5th to convince him. That's Bill Belichick for you. I think the Patriots finessed him out of this one. There might be something that the Dolphins know the Patriots don't know, but right now I'm taking this as a yeah, Devontae Parker really just pulled a stain on Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Not only is he going over there, but they're getting a 5th rounder as well, all for a 3rd. That's so simple. Because the 3rd, I mean, while it'll produce somebody good, you have to really know them to be drafting them in the 3rd. But yeah, other than that, a lot of signings, a lot of trades, a lot of smack talk on the social media, you know, all the vibes. We did a little list, the pros, the equals, and the negatives. Next season's gonna be a banger for a lot of these receivers, and their new quarterbacks. But yeah, fuck with me for real. I still think the Packers are a possibility to take the NFC. I think right now, with how young the season is, there's plenty of room to fix anything and everything on each team. The Packers, the Bucks, anybody. Heck, even the Lions. So right now, Packers are still a playoff team in my mind. They just got a couple more problems that they need to fix, but there's plenty of time to fix that. All these teams really can do a lot of different things to switch it up. I think what I'm gonna do is for the draft, I may go live, and if I can get a whiteboard on my hands, do like write out the draft names of the players as they get drafted, and then we can see how close I was during my mock draft, or if I think those players are good enough to be on the same team or be on the team that they're drafted on. Just because I wanted to switch it up, maybe give you a live. Yeah, this was weekend football. Like I said, maybe next week we can do we can do a mock draft. You know, the last week of April is the draft, so we have 4 weeks left. We'll do a mock draft. We can do a mock free agency signings for the week. Who is the hot topic? Who is not? Damn, I still think the Jags overpaid Christian Kirk, but we're not going to talk about that anymore. Yeah, so yeah, if you're fucking with this video, give it a like, give it a share, give it a comment, subscribe to the channel. Come on, I'm trying to do this once a week, where I just, I literally look up the information from the website. I literally look it up off the NFL website, and then I write it down. So nothing that anybody else can't do. I'm just doing it for you. The Lord's work, man. Yeah, but anyway, this was 2KJ, and next week I'll be back with some more information.